The fantastic sound of, and I should say the long-awaited sound, of the John Anderson solo album, Olias of Sunhillow. And I'm delighted to say that John Anderson is in the studio with me today. John, welcome to America again.
Mm-hmm.
It's always a great pleasure to have you here.
It's good to be here.
Who is Olias of Sunhillow, for those who might still at this date be uninformed?
Yeah, well, Olias is a mythical character. There is an Olias who was a saint. I'm not quite sure what he was the saint of. I was told once, but I've forgotten. But Olias was the kind of fantasy that came about out of the artwork of Roger Dean on Fragile. I had this idea that that ship that kind of hovered around was playing some little part in this idea of a story that was coming out at that time. And Olias, in a story you have to have the heroes and these kind of situations, and Olias was the guy who builds the ship to transport the 4 tribes from Sunhillow, because of Sunhillow being on a destruction course, and the 4 tribes have got to be taken away from the planet. Olias has 2 friends. One is Ranyart, who is the guide, and one is Caquake, who is the singer to the people, because Caquake is a mystic. And the 4 tribes are definitely different kinds of people, and they haven't seen of each other at all on the planet. So that when they come together, because they're brought together in a trance, they don't see each other that clearly. They just make music together. And the music that they make together brings the ship to life once they're inside the ship. And the ship takes off from Sunhillow.
Just fascinating. Where did the inspiration come from, John, for the moor glades and the names? I mean, it's just so fascinating.
Yeah, it was crazy that having read a few books, and there's a lady in North London called Vera Stanley Alder, and she writes about life and a lot of heavy, ancient statements she comes up with, very simple books. And from these sources you start to conjure up a kind of idea for a story. So basically, about a year ago I made the decision as to how the story was, so that I could start really considering the music to the story, and to make sure that the music and the story were one. It was that important. And then there came the time when I felt, well, I can't write the story because I've never written stories. I don't know if I could start. I could probably start a story, but to get into the middle and to make it
pay off,
momentum happen, right, and so on. So I asked a couple of people to get together to write it, and they started writing a book, and it all got a bit lost, and I couldn't quite see what they were getting up to. And we decided, me and Jenny and the kids decided to go to Greece. And I thought, well, there's got to be something going on if I'm going to go to Greece, because here I am going to Greece, and there's got to be something coming out of it. And one morning I woke up pretty early, before the sun came up, and I heard this kind of buzzing just outside the window. And I walk outside, and there's a tree full of bees, and you can hear the bays and the bells of distant lambs going up the mountainside. And it was an incredible 2-hour period. I just sat there and watched the sun slowly rise. And then I started writing. and I started writing the story.
Well, it obviously was in you, and it needed something like that to bring it out.
Really.
But you certainly are a storyteller.
Well, I'm going to start getting into them now.
Absolutely. I can see a whole line of books.
Yeah.
We're going to take a moment here for a word from All We Reserved.